Have you experienced problems with your teeth on a raw vegan diet, raw food diet, fruitarian diet, fruit-based diet? I want to address that in this video. My name's Ronnie Smith. I am the founder of UK Fruitfest, Raw Vegan Festival in the UK, and you can check out more information about the festival below. I'll put a link below. You can join our announcement list, and we'd love to see you there. So thank you very much for coming to the channel. Teeth. Let's get into it. So definitely one of the claims made or negative things said about the raw vegan diet or raw food diet is that people can get teeth problems, can get damage to their teeth. And there's been evidence of that, of many people who've said that they stopped doing a raw vegan or raw food diet, even a vegan diet, because of problems with their teeth. In this video, I'm probably going to go through a fair amount of information, but it's very simple, really. So I can get to the simple basics of it, and then we can go through a bunch of other information if it might be of interest to you. Now, firstly, we want to point out that maybe the teeth, almost more than many things, are connected with youth, with attractiveness, with healthiness, and all that kind of stuff. So when someone is missing teeth or has lost teeth, it's not a good sign, and it obviously affects people's confidence. So there's a great fear in losing your teeth and damaging your teeth and stuff like that. So people will literally change their diet because of that one thing, even if everything else is fine. We have seen various people that have been leaders in the raw food movement at times come out and say that they experienced damage to their teeth. I can think of Frederick Patenaude being one. I can think Michael Arnstein made a video about some damage to his teeth. Tim Van Orden, Durian Rider, although he didn't specifically talk about it, but that happened, and a number of other people that I can think of. And I have experienced damage to my teeth. Now, do I want to go into my personal story right now in this video? Yeah, I might as well. So I have had damage to my teeth from prior to the raw vegan diet or lifestyle ever. And at a relatively young age, my front two teeth were wearing down. And when I went to the dentist, well, I didn't really notice it, but the dentist noticed. I went to the dental hospital, which is like referred to the higher level thing. And I think they had to refer me to someone else because they didn't quite understand it. And they wanted me to take part in this study and all this stuff. Um, and basically, my front two teeth were wearing down in an unusual way, in a way that was not standard, right? So that it teaches me one thing, that if something is not standard, dentists notice it. And dentists are trained to notice things like mouth cancer and stuff. Apparently, it's quite rare, according to my dentist. It's very rare that he refers mouth cancer. Like in 20 years, he said about 3 people. And I think he said most of them, it turned out to not be anything. But so they notice things and they understand patterns of damage, and they know what caused what damage and stuff like that, generally speaking. So if something is different about what's happening in your mouth, they'll probably know, hopefully. What it turned out potentially was that I was suffering damage to my teeth as a result of stomach acid coming back into my mouth, which is called GERD in America, like gastrointestinal whatever reflux disease, acid reflux, just the stomach acid coming back into your mouth. And on a raw vegan diet, I don't suffer from that anymore, but I used to all my life. And it used to be very painful, burning sensation. And the reflux doesn't happen anymore, but when at times, if it has happened on a raw vegan diet, it's not burned. It's like water coming back into my throat. So the stomach acid when we eat fruit is far less acidic. So anyway, that was potentially one of the reasons that my teeth were wearing down. I was grinding them as well, but I don't think I was really grinding them. So that was an experience I had when I was younger, and I had some damage. I had some cavities when I was young, but nothing out of the ordinary really. And then I gave up sugar when I was in my early 20s. I gave up sugar, and I thought, next time I go to the dentist, my teeth are going to be amazing. And I think I still had one cavity, or I had something um, that was not quite right or whatever. So I have had damage prior to this diet and lifestyle. My two parents, my dad showed me recently has none of his front teeth anymore. And I think I would have none of my front teeth, by the way, if it wasn't for modern dentistry, um, because of the damage I was having from quite a young age. And I would have maybe lost my front teeth at quite a young age. So, but he had a lot of teeth missing, and I was asking him about that because my dad's not a guy that he doesn't eat a lot of fruit for a start, but he's not a sugar monster guy. He doesn't eat cakes, sweets, biscuits. Like he'll have them um, once in a while and stuff like that, but he doesn't binge on them. He doesn't if he's snacking, it's more of a salty snack. You know, he's not a soft drink person. Um, so he's not the kind of candidate of a person that you would think, oh yeah, he's destroyed his teeth. But it may also be that that shows that if you do damage when you're younger, that's basically, you know, going to be a part. You're going to the teeth are going to get weaker. He also said that the way his teeth, situated in his mouth was a problem, but I'm not sure if that's as much the case. My mum has also got a bunch of damage to her teeth, and she might have ate not particularly well when she was younger, sweets and stuff. But neither of them have I ever really seen uh, eat excessively of sugar, fruit, anything of that nature. And my mum's a vegan now, but they've not been vegans throughout their life or anything like that. My dad's not a vegan. Anyway, so does that mean I have some bad genetics teeth wise or something? I don't know exactly, but it might not be a good indication, right? Maybe I should look at my brothers. Their teeth are probably better than mine, to be honest. So when I came into this lifestyle, uh, I for a while was. I think there was a point when I didn't brush my teeth. I just decided not to brush my teeth. I wanted to go the full natural route for a while, and I started to see plaque develop and all that stuff. So I started to realize, right, this is not. And I was in love with the idea of the whole natural lifestyle. Um, so it was something that was hard for me to accept. And then, and I certainly didn't want to have chemicals and fluoride toothpaste and all that stuff. And then I saw various influencers and they were saying, "Oh, my teeth are better than ever on this diet and stuff." People would say things, and I was following Durian Rider and I was following different people like that, and kind of following a particular style of this diet. And while many things in my life were improving and health were improving, I would say that I probably lost a little bit too much weight. That was one thing I got wrong, first off. Um, but my teeth were starting to show some problems. And I don't know how long that took. But maybe even the first year, I was, yeah, probably even the first year, I would say I was starting to think something's not quite right here. And over that time, I developed damage, and then when I was going to the dentist, I would have another cavity, and I'd have another cavity, and over years, it just continued that pattern. And I was trying to figure out different things, and for a lot of the time, I was kind of ignoring it. I was kind of trying to ignore it, and I think one time I actually left the dentist because I just and it was really unpleasant. Some of the dentists I was at, the way they did things was not very nice, right? So maybe I avoided the dentist, maybe I left the dentist sometimes, and eventually I got the thing that really wakes you up, forces you to change your mind sometimes, is going through some pain. And I got toothache really bad, and I was like on the floor with toothache, and I was thinking, I need to figure something. I need to like listen to someone else here. So I started going to the dentist. I did have some dentists that weren't particularly good, I don't think. Um, and I would ask them about diet, nutrition stuff, and all that, and they just said, you're just not cleaning your teeth properly. That's what they said to me. You're just not cleaning your teeth. And I wasn't very regular with like toothbrushing. I got out of the habit of that. That wasn't particularly good. I didn't really floss. And these are things that, in fairness, I'd heard stuff like this fairly early. Like I should have been doing stuff like that, but I wasn't uh, taking care of my teeth as much, consciously taking care of them, and damage happened. And that damage is pretty bad. You know, I would. Uh, I don't know what I don't know what I want to say. This is my biggest regret, health wise, probably, is that I've not looked after my teeth well enough, and you never recover that. Like uh, a lot of people would want to believe in the idea you can regrow your teeth and maybe you do a fast and everything. No, I don't believe that anyway. And when I say I don't believe, I mean the people that say things like that have got far less experience, right? So you can't regrow. And people really want to believe this stuff, and they'll say, "Oh, I had a cavity, and then 6 months later, I went back and I didn't need a cavity, and I regrew my teeth." It's like maybe, but what you can remineralize damage, but if you've actually got infection within your tooth, like a cavity, like it's hard for them. It's hard for that not to continue because it's an infection of bacteria. I'll get to. I'll explain a little bit more about this in a moment, I suppose. So I've done some bad damage to my teeth, and it's in direct relation to some choices I made as a part of this lifestyle. I don't blame this lifestyle, but I'll get to that in a moment. So had damage, and what happens is once you've damaged your teeth, dentists try to do things to save the tooth, put a cavity in, but it's not going to last forever necessarily, and they can fall out and you know, if infection can happen anyway. If the damage goes quite far, they might do a root canal to stop the infection getting into the root and all that, and they'll put a cavity on. And there's a lot of people that will say, "Oh, you should never get a root canal," blah blah blah. Once again, these are people that don't really know what they're talking about, and it's all different levels of ideas, right? But um, you know, there's not a lot of other options out there. You either get a root canal or you pull the tooth out. That's or you let it die and fall out. And people would be like, "Yeah, yeah, you let it fall out." It's like it's not good to have a hole where there used to be a tooth. Like, what do you think happens after that? The only other thing is you get an implant. That's the only thing you can do, or a bridge. You can do a bridge, but these things don't last. Like, you want if you can get your tooth to stay in there with a root canal, then you're much better off doing that. So, I admit I've done a lot of damage. Now, here's what a lot of people would say. These are some of the things that people say of why a raw vegan diet can lead to damage or can exacerbate damage or can be a part of damage. They'll say things like unripe fruit. We're all eating unripe fruit. No one's eating unripe fruit. No one's eating unripe fruit. Like, it's impossible. Like, less than perfectly ripe fruit. Yeah, you can eat less than, but no one's literally eating seriously unripe fruit. And people will say, well, we can't get ripe fruit in this country. It's only ripe fruit. Like, you can't eat an unripe banana. You can't eat an unripe orange. You just can't. It's not even like oh, I used to eat unripe fruit. Like, you can't do that. You need to understand that like it's not possible to eat unripe fruit. And people will bring up pineapples and oh the green pineapple, different things. It's not possible. Unripe fruit is inedible, basically. So it's not unripe fruit, and it's not citrus. So people say, oh, it's citrus. It's acidic fruits that cause teeth damage. It's acidic fruits. And there is some level of damage that happens from consuming acidic foods, but that's part of the normal, like, on stuff that goes on in your mouth. Like, that's part of eating. Damage goes on. But the whole point is you strip away maybe some small layer of enamel, but that gets remineralized. And it's remineralized by the action of saliva on your mouth. And the important thing is that your teeth are clear of debris so that they can remineralize through the saliva directly impacting the teeth with the minerals from your saliva. Your saliva has minerals in it. So it's not to do with citrus fruits, it's not to do with acidic fruits, it's not to do with vinegar or anything like that. It's also not to do with a lack of minerals. A lot of people in the health world in general want to go on about minerals all day long. I've got no idea why, but it's their big thing is to go on and on and on about minerals. And they've never shown me evidence of a time when human beings had a real, like, widespread mineral problem. Like, oh yeah, this community, they were suffering from calcium deficiency and all their bones disappeared. Like, doesn't, can you see how fundamental it would be? Like, if you just didn't have any minerals coming into your body, like, um, you'd have a lot more problems than just a little bit of teeth damage. Like, these things are needed for more things than just keeping your teeth healthy. So I don't know why people want to focus on minerals, and you need to eat more greens. You need to have more greens and all that. It's nothing to do with that, in my opinion, and in the opinion of dentists. Now, maybe they know nothing, but what you can do is go to your dentist and say, "Is this to do with minerals?" They will look at you with a bit of a strange look and say, "What are you talking about?" This is the exact same damage that I see with everyone else. They'll probably say something like that, and it isn't a lack of minerals that's creating that. And a lot of people want to take supplements to get minerals and green powders to get minerals and all these things, because everyone's been sold in the idea there's no minerals in the soil. It's not true. It's not proven idea as far as I can see, and it's not a widespread problem in the human race. The lack of minerals, like, there's no problem. Um, so, but everyone wants to go on about deficiencies. A lot of people have their own fetishes and their own little bizarre ideas they have. People are creative. They like to create ideas, and they like to take in stories that sound like convenient, simple stories. And, you know, there's no minerals in the soil, so there's no minerals in the food. Therefore, there's no minerals in my body, and that's why I'm sick. Like, people like that idea rather than that they're eating a bad diet, they're not exercising, and all the other things they're not doing. So it's not those things. What else is it not? Chemicals. It's not the fluoride in your toothpaste causing other problems. Like, it's not any of these things. It's not your dentist, most likely. Um, so what is it? What's the problem with teeth? Why do people suffer damage to their teeth? The damage to your teeth is caused by the interaction of at least four things, but basically, you have bacteria in your mouth, and human beings in general have a infection of a particular bacteria that's pretty widespread across the human race in your mouth called Streptococcus mutans, and there's nothing that we've figured out yet to get rid of it completely. So from a young age, you get this bacteria in your mouth. It stays in your mouth your entire life. and it produces acid as its waste product, and that acid is damaging to the teeth. Now, that's fine most of the time because the level of the bacteria is not particularly high. Our saliva has antibacterial properties in it. Yes, all the people that don't like antibiotics and are all freaked out about all that, your saliva has antibiotics in it, right? So you have antibacterial properties in your saliva. And that might be one of the main differences, that some people never need any, never get any damage to their teeth. It might be they've got a stronger or higher level of the antibiotics, the antibacterial stuff in their saliva. And any damage that happens is remineralized by the action of the saliva on your teeth. So that's all fine. The problem with the modern diet is that it throws it out of balance. And primarily it gets thrown out of balance by food that allows for plaque to form, or encourages or plays a part in plaque to form. And plaque is a barrier stuck onto the teeth where the bacteria can thrive and develop and cause damage, and the saliva is not able to get to the teeth effectively and remineralize teeth properly. So the more that this plaque, this barrier, is on your teeth, the longer the damage can happen. And eventually that damage damages the outside of the tooth and can cause little damage in the teeth. And gradually bacteria will get into the teeth. And once the bacteria get into the teeth, they start to damage the inside of the teeth. And the acid starts to wear away the inside of the tooth. And that causes cavities. That causes the damage that happens on the inside of the tooth, that then dentists drill into the tooth and drill out all of that damage, all of that infection, clean it out, get the bacteria out, and then fill it in. That's what a cavity is, or a filling. It's not perfect, but if I was so cynical and skeptical about these things that one of my dentists took a mirror up to my face to show me what it looked like on the inside of one of my teeth. He said, "Look, that's the damage." And he showed me the damage on the inside of the tooth. And when your dentist is checking, like touching your teeth with like the metal thing and all that, they're seeing if it's weakened, if it's soft. So they can tell somehow that a tooth has some decay in it. And that's tooth decay. So what causes the barrier, the plaque barrier? Basically, it's sugar sticking to the teeth. That's basically what it is. It's sugar sticking to the teeth. It's bacteria, and it's maybe bits of food, that all come together. So you might say, well, sugar is a problem, and sugar is necessary for. If you remove all forms of sugar from your diet, you probably won't get any tooth decay ever either. So it would be true to say, like, if you go on a keto diet or one of those kind of diets and you never have any form of sugar, you probably never damage your teeth. That's probably true. Now, but that doesn't mean you should do it, because there's other problems that would happen. But theoretically, you need to have sugar or some form of digestible carbohydrate that these bacteria can thrive on. So what happens there is, when you eat sticky food that sticks to your teeth, that sticks to your mouth, it sticks to the outside of the teeth, it causes this barrier. It creates an environment where now there's more bacteria, the acid is building up, the damage can happen, and the mineralization of the saliva is not happening as much. So damage starts to occur. And even then, once you brush your teeth and once all that stuff, it removes it to a degree, and then it should be able to remineralize, during the night and so on. But eventually, over time, if you keep on doing that damage and it can't remineralize 100%, you're just going to the damage starts to increase and increase. So, and when it gets inside the tooth, then the saliva can't really get to it. So a lot of people get this pattern of damage, which is little bits of brown spots between the tooth and the gum. So some of you might have had that or get that, little bits of brown, like here, right? What is that? That is a pattern of damage that my dentist was saying is the same as like someone that eats sweets all day long. That's what he says, that they get that. People that put sweets in their mouth and they're sucking on these sweets. And it creates this barrier, it creates this acidic environment in the mouth. So the teeth for ages and ages are exposed to this acidic environment. The bacteria is thriving. The mineralization is not happening. And the longer that it gets exposed to that, the less time there is for the teeth to remineralize, and the more damage that occurs over time. So why would this relate to a raw vegan diet? Well, is it fruit? So you can ask your dentist, but when I've spoken to dentists, it's not fruit, apparently. So if you're talking about acidic fruit and all that, you can ask them about that. Is it acidic fruit? You could ask them. And what my dentist said and what people I've talked to said, that if you eat like an orange or eat apples or whatever, it washes out. It doesn't stick to your teeth. And you kind of know that. Then you know the difference. If you eat an apple or bananas or any fruit, it doesn't stick to your mouth. It doesn't stick to your teeth. There's not that feeling of stickiness. But if you have artificial sugars and sweets and things like that, it does stick to your teeth. So for years, I was doing this kind of diet and sort of trying to figure out what the problem was. And I gradually was making some progress with my teeth issues. They were getting not as bad, and I started to floss. I started to use floss sticks all the time. That was improving things. That was an immediate start to make a difference. Started to use fluoride toothpaste again. I think that made some difference. But to be honest, the thing that I should have done from the very start, that I should have taken a bit more seriously, was dates and dried fruit. But for me, it was dates. And this is why it's so simple, because you go through all this science and all this stuff, and you can talk about minerals and you can talk about toothbrushing techniques. But one of the issues with the raw vegan movement that I grew up in at the time, 10 years ago and so on, is that we were encouraged by certain people to eat a lot of dates. Durian Rider, Freely, they talked about dates being a staple food of the raw vegan diet, basically. Like, you can't do this without dates, almost. And dates taste amazingly. Everyone loves dates. And if you can eat dates and not suffer any teeth damage, then there's no problem with eating dates, really. If you can do it and you're not suffering any teeth damage. Some people don't. But there's a good likelihood, if you do have issues with your teeth on this diet, that part of it will be connected with dried fruit and dates, or dried fruit. Even if you're like, well, I don't even eat that many dates. I don't eat that much dried fruit. It's only once in a while. It's only once a day. It's only once every meal, And my advice to you would be, get rid of the dates. If you have any teeth damage issues or any sensitivity, get rid of the dates. And when I started to floss and then give up the dates, like, in terms of pain, I used to have pains in my mouth quite a lot. It went away pretty much. Went away significantly. And I realized that if I'd not had the dates so much, I think I would have suffered far less, maybe none of the damage that I suffered, honestly. It's because when I spoke to my dentist and I said, what about dried fruit? And he was like, yeah, dried fruit can do that. The thing that he was talking about with he talked about like a taxi driver would have sweets all day in their mouth as they're driving around, and they suffer this damage. And I said, what about dried fruit? And he went, yeah, that dried fruit could do that. And it just clicked. I was like, that's what it's been all along. Like, and I guess maybe I always knew it and I never wanted to give up dates. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe I was like, oh, it's okay as long as I floss after it. But at that point, I was like, I'm quitting them 100%, which was hard for me to do. And I, I'll have them once in a while, but they're not, and dried fruit in general, it's not part of my diet anymore. And to me, it was the biggest mistake I made on this whole diet was dried fruit. So I've sometimes had friends come to me and different people, and they've said, "Oh, I went to the dentist, can't believe it. I've got 4 cavities. I thought everything was going well, and I love this diet, but And I say, well, what are you eating? And then I say, do you eat any dates? And they're like, oh yeah, I eat dates every day. I'm like, that's it. Like, cut out the dates. And they cut out the dates, and it's like night and day difference after a couple of days. Like, oh my God, that's totally changed the way my mouth feels, and everything improves for them. And if they hadn't made that change, they would have kept going down that road of damage. So I've been saying this for years, but if you go in the forums, people are still talking about minerals, and they're still talking about greens, and they're still talking about don't have unripe fruit. And when you say it's the dates and the dried fruit, they're not satisfied with that. I've had people come to the festival, they don't like that answer. It's like, oh, my daughter's having some issues with her teeth. It's like, yeah, it's the dates. Well, it can't be that. They don't even eat that many dates. It's like, well, if they are eating dates, that's enough. It's enough. They want it to be deficiency. They're so desperate for it to be deficiency. I don't know why you people are so desperate for deficiencies to be the issue all the time. It's like you want to prove some weird idea right that you've got a deficiency, and that you have to have the magic green powder that's going to solve it. And you could have a deficiency. We'll get that checked out if you like. Go and check it out. Have you got a calcium deficiency? Feel free, or a phosphorus deficiency. Go to your doctor and see if you've got one of those deficiencies. Go and test for it. Chances are incredibly unlikely. Unbelievably unlikely. You live on bananas, you're not getting calcium deficiency. So, you know, it ain't deficiencies. I know that this is something that I go over again and again and again, but everyone wants it to be a deficiency. I don't know why. Like, no one wants the human race to be able to live on this planet on their natural diet. Like, everyone wants it to be, they need to buy something from doctors and pharmacists and whatever. You can't just eat fruit from the trees. No, it can't be that. It can't be that chimpanzees and bonobos and gorillas, and they all eat like 50% of their diet is figs, and then a whole abundance of the rest of their diet is other fruits and all that stuff. Like, it can't be that. There's no way that humans, other primates that have virtually the same digestive system as them, it can't be the case that we're designed to eat fruit. We must need something different. We must need some modern technology. So, dates are the answer. And if you've damaged your teeth, if you have damage, if you see it, if you got pain, go to your dentist. Go to your dentist. Like, there's no way around this. Don't try and heal this naturally. Don't try and heal it with herbs and all that stuff. The first thing is your body's not lacking anything. The problem is tooth decay, most likely. And I can say that because I suffered unusual damage to my teeth. And I was referred to a dental hospital as a result. So if you had unusual damage, like, oh, this must be a mineral deficiency, they would see that, and they would see it and they would go, right, there's something wrong with this person. This is weird. The damage that's going on in their teeth is just not right. There's big chunks falling off their teeth. That's not what's happening. It's tooth decay. You're experiencing tooth decay. It's the same thing as every human being. 3 billion people on the planet. It's estimated that every adult on the planet or something has some level of tooth decay. That's the other thing I should have said about tooth decay. It's the most common disease in the world, if you call it a disease. It is a disease, but like, go on Wikipedia. It's the most common disease in the world. billions of people have damage to their teeth from tooth decay. Billions. So the people that are against veganism and against raw veganism, they will say, well, look at the information from the, what are they called? Weston Price Foundation. And this guy, Weston Price, was a dentist, and he went around the world and he looked at tribes around the world, and they were so healthy and their teeth were perfect and everything about them were so great. These people weren't really healthy. They really weren't that healthy. But this is what the guy wanted to put across, that all these, tribes living in, remote places, that they're all really super healthy. And and we all want to believe they're super spiritual and they're all really brilliant. They're all way better than all of us. They don't sacrifice children and like do weird stuff and rape women. They don't do that bad stuff. They don't do anything like that. No way. No way. They're all good and spiritual people. It's the modern world that's the problem. So all these good and spiritual, people living out in the jungles had all perfect teeth. And then when they started to eat the modern diet, their teeth eroded and fell apart. And that can be perfectly possible because of sugar, because of processed modern sugar. And many of them didn't have access to processed modern sugar. So that makes sense. But there are tribes that if you look at them, their teeth are bad. Why is that? Because they consume honey. So they go into the trees, they get honey, and they love honey. And honey is sticky, sticks to your teeth, and can contribute towards tooth decay, and they've got damage to their teeth. You can look back millions of years into fossils, you'll find tooth decay. You'll find tooth decay in primates. You'll find tooth decay going back skeletons, years ago. So this is not a fruitarian problem, clearly. It's not a raw vegan problem. It's not a fruit problem, clearly, because billions of people have it and basically no one's really eaten much fruit. But it is related to sugar. It is related to sugar sticking to the teeth, that plaque barrier happening. The mineralization can't happen. That is the action of your saliva. That's why we brush our teeth. We're actually brushing away food debris, but we're brushing away this barrier of plaque that gets stuck to our teeth. And that once we've brushed that away, that allows the actual healing to happen, which is the remineralization of the teeth. So really look after your teeth. Take it seriously. Let's get away from raw vegans having bad tooth problems because of dates. And by the way, I heard this stuff when I really look back and I say to myself, why didn't these people alert me more? There's a bunch of them that I think, why didn't they say more about it? Why didn't they be more clear on it? No one came out and said to me it's dates. But when I look back, I thought, wait, there was one person. Mike Arnstein made a video. I don't know if it's still up, but he made a video saying his teeth were fine on this diet until he started eating dates. And then his teeth started to suffer. And then he cut out the dates or something. So I heard that and I didn't heed the calling. So that was my mistake. So don't be like me. If you have any sensitivities, for those of you for whom dates aren't an issue, that's fine. If you eat dates for years and you go to the dentist and everything's all good, that's fine. That might be you. But if you're having any sensitivities, damage, and so on, then give up the dates, 100%. And all dried fruit. And I would also suggest probably the processed juices, because they are made from a syrup and they can be as sticky as well. Anything sticky is the thing. So thank you for watching this video. If you'd like more nuggets of wisdom like this, then you can subscribe to this channel. We do a Fruity Fridays thing on a Friday night. You can go to fruitfest.co.uk, join our mailing list there. There's a Love Fruit podcast. To try and put one up every week with interviews. Feel free to interact, send a message, put something below. Thank you for watching this. Share it with someone else. Feel free to debate and discuss. And we'll see you in another video.